Thanks everyone for being here. So just so you know, we're going to be talking about Methodist historic landmarks and the heritage landmarks, and we'll be going through that. Dr. Ashley Boggan, who's the General Secretary for Archives and History, and James Ridegway, who's the President and CEO of Educational Opportunities, who is partnering with Archives and History on this initiative, and they're going to tell you all about it. Later on, if you have questions, just so that they can hear you clearly, if you don't mind going to one of the mics, and that way they can make sure to answer your question well for you.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. So we are here to announce a couple of things. The first is that our heritage landmarks that we proposed to this general conference did pass on consent calendar yesterday, and so we are adding five new heritage landmarks to our roster. We also expanded the definition of what it means to be a heritage landmark, to not just include a geographic building or space, but to include places and areas where mission or ministry has happened that is also significant. So those are two ways that we are expanding what it means to be a heritage landmark. But one of the ways that we are expanding our discussing heritage landmarks and our educational resources around those is through a new position at the General Commission on Archives and History. So David Worthington, who is the former global ambassador at John Wesley's New Room in Bristol, England, will be serving as the global ambassador of Methodist heritage sites for the United Methodist Church. This position is supported financially by Archives and History and Educational Opportunities. And David, in this role, will be doing fundraising for our heritage landmarks. He will also be doing educational visits and tours of those spaces here within the United States, and then coordinating with Archives and History and Educational Opportunities on heritage tours and places and sites and visits in the UK. And so we are so excited to be able to offer and announce this new role that will promote our heritage both within the US and in UK jointly, especially in this season of budget cuts and things. So we are excited to be able to do this. And I'll turn it to James for comments as well.
Well, we at EO are very excited to work with Ashley and David and Archives and History on this. I've known David for many years, and for me, my family spent every summer in England, not too far away from Bristol, and so I remember the New Room before David was there as a little kid, and the work he did there was just phenomenal in, taking a historical space and really adding context and what Methodism and Wesley meant in the 18th century. So it's just exciting for me that I could be there as a 7-8-year-old kid in the New Room, and now partner with Archives and History in keeping these sites alive and really giving hopefully a sense of purpose to go visit and understand Wesleyan roots in this season of change.
Mm-hmm. And one of the other things that we're also announcing today is that in October of 2024, so this coming October, we are doing a soft launch of an American Methodist pilgrimage. And that will begin at John Street in New York City. And it will go do a tour of Lower Manhattan, and then we'll move on to Philadelphia and look at sites such as historic St. George's, Mother Bethel, Mother Zor, and others in Philadelphia. We'll then move to Barrett's Chapel over in Delaware before heading to Baltimore to explore Methodist and EUB roots in Baltimore. And we'll end in DC. And this this pilgrimage will begin on October 12th, which is the historic day when Barbara Heck threw cards into a fire and demanded that Philip Embry begin a Methodist class meeting here in the United States, or what is now the United States. So we will have a soft launch of that this fall, and it'll be open to the public sometime in 2025. And again, we're partnering with Educational Opportunities to work with the logistics of planning this tour.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this as well. We have 45 years of working with the Methodist sites in the UK, and it was just something that we always needed to do as a corporation who has very strong Wesleyan roots. My father's a United Methodist pastor. And I don't know, we just never made time. And then so much of our work is in biblical destinations, and after October 7 in Israel, suddenly we had time. And David Ashley came along and is like, I just told the team we need to do this and do it well. So we're really excited about that partnership too.
Any questions?
Tim Tanton with UM News. So can you elaborate a little bit more? So there's going to be the soft launch. How do you envision building this out beyond the soft launch, and will it be an annual pilgrimage? If you could elaborate a little bit more on your vision for this.
Yeah, so yes, this October we're doing the soft launch. That is really just to work out any kinks in itinerary that might emerge as we are designing this for the first time. And then hopefully, it will at least be an annual pilgrimage. If we get enough interest, we might be able to offer it more than once a year. We plan, though, on always launching it on October 12th in the fall to mark the day of Barbara Heck, the mother of American Methodism. And maybe we'll start the pilgrimage by all tossing some cards into a flame. I don't know, but there will be some sort of celebratory thing. But yes, and this could be a trip. We haven't talked about kind of the how it will be, I guess, designed moving forward. But I could see it working for different age groups, for clergy and for laity. Trying to get bishops to bring their ordinands on an American Methodist tour. I know so many go to the UK, but following in the footsteps and the horseshoes of Francis Asbury, can be life-changing as well.
And I would say it actually brings so many resources to the table to make this truly a wonderful experience, with your predecessors and different people. So, I guess we could have done this ourselves logistically, but not with everything, Archives and History is bringing to the table here.
Yeah. And one of the exciting things is we are working with clergy and historians in those conferences to rely on their expertise. So John Street and the Lower Manhattan will be run by Reverend Stephanie Bennett. The portion of Philadelphia and the tour there will be Reverend Dr. Fred Day, my predecessor and former pastor at Historic St. George's. In Baltimore, we'll be working with Reverend Dr. Bonnie McCubbin, who is the annual conference archivist and historian, and she's the director of pilgrimage for that conference as well. And then in DC, we haven't worked out DC yet, but I will either lead the tour or we'll partner with some of Archives and History's friends like Carol Travis down there.
Fred Koenig from the Missouri Conference. Regarding the heritage landmarks and historic sites, have you had any guidance or support in areas where the Board of Trustees have moved to change their bylaws so it no longer requires United Methodists to be serving on the board?
Serving on the Board of Archives and History?
No, on the board for the heritage site.
For the heritage site. I don't know.
Okay, you not engaged that?
I have not engaged
Okay.
that, so yeah.
I also have a question about the heritage sites. Of course, one of the big challenges for heritage sites of any, I guess, of any categorization is preservation, right? So what would you say to the United Methodist audience about this particular challenge and what we might be called to do as the people called United Methodists to help preserve these historically significant heritage sites?
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. So part of the role that David Worthington is going to supply is fundraising. So currently, and in the past, I believe 3 years, the General Commission on Archives and History has set aside $15,000 of its budget for heritage landmark grants. Those are grants which we get applications from various heritage landmarks. We currently had 49. At the end of General Conference, we'll have 54. And they apply to us with various needs, be they educational expenses, building expenses, infrastructure, you name it, right? Old pipes cost a lot to fix. One of the problems that we've had kind of doing the grant structure this way is that, if a pipe bursts and it costs $5,000 to repair, we can usually only supply about $1,500 towards that repair. And so we've asked David Worthington in this role to do fundraising for us. And we've given him the goal of $50,000 in the first 18 months. And so that way we are using the $15,000 that we had earmarked for our heritage landmarks and hoping to turn that 15 into 50. And that way the pool that heritage landmarks can apply to is a little bit bigger. And if this model works, then we'll kind of see what the future of that could be, whether it's a heritage foundation or something. But David Worthington he's visited many of these sites. He does great education around them. He's a great fundraiser. He has a lot of experience with fundraising, not only at the new room, but I believe his background's in fundraising and international business as well. So, yeah.
Hi, Christy House. I'm with Global Ministries. I see that your initial flight is all in the Northeast, and so it's our oldest Methodist flights. Will you eventually reach down into the MEC South sites and other places in the country?
One thing that I would love to do over the next 10 years is launch this worldwide, right? How did Methodism begin in Germany? How did it begin across Africa? Right, doing different pilgrimages and tours throughout the world would be wonderful, right? And that's like kind of my really long-term goal. I haven't told James that, so if he looks shocked, I don't know. But I think, we do need to see how successful the pilgrimage is launching it in the Northeast before we expand. And also, learn things like, do trips like this need to be 5 days or 7 days, or can people do 10 days? How far are people willing to travel and things like that? But yes, absolutely. I would love to do these various heritage tours or pilgrimages across the world. So not just within the Northeast and the UK.
Thank you.
I think we're good. So
Awesome.
thank you so much for sharing. And there is a press release, and we'll be sharing that out as well.
Thank you all.
Thank you.